Good morning, friends. This is Dennis Miracle. Today I'm going to be making something I'm calling Lazy Days, and you can see it on the screen. It's a little different than what I'm used to making. I've made the bag a slightly different shape, but I wanted to make something easier without all of the intricate fills and the applique for people starting out and want to make something just a little simpler for those who might be new to making in the hoop purses. So this is what it looks like. Let's go over to the cutting table and see the pieces we need. All right, this is for the 6x10 hoop, as almost all of my designs are. And you need, I cut the fabric 7x11. You need 2 pieces of fabric, one for the front and then one for the back. The front half, I will say, because there is a simple applique in the front, so you need 2 pieces for the front of two different kinds of pieces. But anyhow, one of these will be for the half of the front and the other piece will be for the back. And then you need a coordinating color for the other part of the applique in the front, which I'm using this pretty red that coordinates with this red here. You need 2 pieces of batting, one cut 6x11, one cut 7x11. You need 2 pieces of lining fabric, both cut 7x11. And you need, of course, thread, corresponding thread. And if you want to put on a little, maybe something for a wristlet, you need this little device, which I just use grosgrain ribbon cut 3 inches in length with a key ring in the middle and stapled at the top. I don't know why my camera won't focus, but anyhow, that's what you need to get started. And of course, a zipper that's at least 12 to 14 inches long. So let me go and retrieve my zipper, and I will be running the first step of the design, and we'll have that sewn out when I come back. All right, you can see that the outline of the bag has been stitched out, and the first thing we need to do is put the zipper on. So the zipper, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines here. I use a number 3 zipper always, which is 1 inch wide, and that's how I made this design. This is 1 inch from the top line to this 4th line down, so this is an extra long zipper. I didn't need this long, but it's the only thing I had. So just take and put the zipper between the 1st and the 4th lines. Should go in there perfectly. And I'm going to tape it right here, just the edge right there. And then I'm going to tape both ends. Okay. Well, alrighty. And then I'm going to put this in the machine, and it will sew down the zipper on step number 2. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. All right, so the zipper has been sewn down, and we're going to turn the hoop over to the back side, and we're going to take our piece of lining fabric, and we're going to place it face down, and you need to line the edge of the lining fabric up with this 4th line down, and make sure it's centered between the 2. Wow, that's close. Okay. So you got to be careful that both sides, that you can make sure that it's covered on both sides. So let's tape this down. All right, and then let's pick up the hoop and let the piece of lining fall over to the front like this, and then take and fold the lining over several times and take another piece of tape and tape it to the frame of the hoop on the front side here. So that's out of the way because we're not going to need that for quite a while. And then take your front piece of fabric, and let's see, place it. You want to place it right at the edge here. Since we can now see the zipper, you want to place it right at the edge, edge to edge, and centered between the two sides. So here we are. Okay. Alrighty, now take and put this in your machine and run step 3, which will sew down these two pieces of fabric, the front and the back. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, now you can see the front is tacked down just fine. Let's check the back though to make sure that it held. Yes, it did. It's fine also. So back on the front side, we're going to take, I told you to cut 2 pieces of line of batting, one 6x11, one 7x11, and so take the piece that's a little smaller, the 6x11, and place it right underneath the stitch line here, and it should just fit about perfectly. And take and pull back your main fabric, and take your iron and iron this down. Pull it taut so it will not be wrinkled, and iron it down. So there we are. And the next thing that is going to happen is it's going to be a placement stitch for the second piece of fabric you're going to put on. So that's what we'll do now. So you see where the stitches have been sewn down, showing you where you're going to put your next piece of fabric, and just take that second piece of fabric for the front and put it over well, this creates a problem because I can see through. So I'm going to cut another piece of this fabric, and I'm going to have 2 pieces of fabric. And this is sometimes a problem when you have darker fabric beneath this. So let me go and cut a second piece 7x11, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back from cutting the 2 pieces of fabric. So there's 1, there's 2, and now let's put these, move the hoop back into view. So I'm going to take these 2 pieces of fabric and just place, we're going to be trimming up above here. So we're gonna put this down, and now you can't see through, which we did not want to see through what was underneath. So this is going to go over the same line, and then tack these 2 pieces of fabric down. Then we'll be doing the trimming of these 2 pieces. So let me put this in the machine and take care of that. All right, these 2 pieces of fabric here have been sewn down, and I'm going to take my applique scissors, and I'm going to trim them as close as I can on this side of the fabric. On this upper side, I'm going to trim away this piece right here, this top piece. So let me do that. I always go to the kitchen table where it's bright and you can see what I'm doing. So I'll be right back in a moment. All right, I have trimmed the top part away, and I'm going to now do the satin stitching right along this line. I need to cut this a little bit better probably. But anyhow, I'm going to do the satin stitching on the next step, which is step 6. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I ran step 6, and you can see it has the pretty satin stitch has covered everything up. And so the next thing I'm going to do is the next 4 steps, I believe, are some decorative stitching through here where my finger is, right above this accent line here, right below this accent line, and then 1 line of stitching close to the bottom. But I'm not going to do anything on the top. I'm going to do the 2 rows of stitching that are on the bottom part. but they're all in separate steps, so you can run them as you wish. I didn't put them all in one step. They're in separate steps, so you can just decide which ones you want. You might not want to run any of them. Who knows? But anyhow, so let me stick this in, and let me go and I think that would be, I'll have to skip a couple steps to get to the right ones for the bottom part, but I'll be back in a moment. All right, I actually changed my mind about the stitching. I decided to put some stitching here above the satin stitching here, one line of stitching. I could have put this same stitching here at the bottom across the top, but I decided not to do that. But anyhow, I think this looks really pretty. It's a beautiful stitch that's in the Floriani software, digitizing software. So the next step we need to do is we need to let this piece of fabric, the lining piece of fabric, let it fall back to the back. Am I recording? Yes, I am. And take off these two side pieces here on the side and fold it down, and then retape it here at the bottom. And put it back in your machine, and it's going to run stitches to tack down or sew down this piece of lining. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. All right, you can see that that has been sewn down. Let's check the back to make sure everything's okay. All right, that has been sewn down. And let's go ahead and remove the stabilizer. Now I use just plain paper towels as my stabilizer. A lot of people probably don't agree with that, but it's worked for me, and that's what I do. So I'm not telling you to do it or not to do it. I'm just saying this is what I use. So I'm just tear it off. There we go. And then I noticed this part right here got turned under as it came around. So let me just get rid of those stitches. Let me see. All right. I'm going to put a little piece of tape there. Well, I won't really need to, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open the zipper. So take this piece of tape off up here in the corner and move your zipper 3/4 of the way in, and take your, if you're going to add a little loop or something to use, take and put that in right now. And I'm going to place mine right here, and I'm going to tape it down right here. Oh, well, that didn't work as I thought it would. All right. Okay, outside the stitch line, and then I'm going to tape this metal piece down so it doesn't come loose and get under my presser foot and make a problem. So then, let me see, the zipper's open. That's probably the most important thing. And then take your other pieces. Let me get them. Take whatever you're going to use for your back piece of fabric. I'm using this same fabric. Place it face down, covering exactly what's already face down, or what's already there, and make sure that you are at least 1/4 inch above, with this piece of fabric above the zipper, the top of the zipper. And then take your piece of batting, the one I told you should be 7 by 11, and place it over that. Okay, and now I'm going to, I have a machine, the Baby Lock Solaris, Baby Lock and Brother machines. I know you can raise the embroidery foot a bit, so I'm going to go into the settings and raise my embroidery foot height to about 0.160. Because I don't want the foot digging into the batting here and making a disaster or a mess. So I've done that, and let me stitch this. It's going to stitch this all 4 sides and close the bag up. So let me do that. All right, now you can see that it has sewn this all together on the top here, and then let's turn over to the back because we're going to place our second and last piece of lining fabric. Place it over what's already there, and as again, make sure you're about 1/4 inch at least over the top stitch line here, which is the top of the zipper. So go ahead and do that, and tape this down on all 4 sides. And I'm hoping to get through before my camera dies because it's really low on the battery. So I'm kind of rushing here. Okay, and so let's stick this back in and run the last step, which is step 13. So I'll be right back. All right, the sewing has been completed, and I'm going to take the bag out of the hoops. So I'll loosen it up here, remove the top of the hoop. Any tape on there? No. Let's make sure. Let me see. Tape. Any tape on there? No. And what I do, I cut from the, and what this last step did is it left this nice generous area here to turn the bag through. And so what I do is I cut from this side, the lining side, and I go in here at an angle like this, and then turn my, sorry to say knife, but turn my scissors and just follow this about 1/8 to 1/4 inch up the side of the bag. Okay. And then coming around this last little bit here, take your scissors and cut in at an angle and cut that bit out of there. There we are. Okay, throw away all of this. This doesn't serve any purpose that I know of. And then look here, you'll see your lining. Oh, let me get this out of here. You'll see your lining, your 2 pieces of lining. Well, get off my finger, please. Well, it's not going to get off. All right, you've got lining first piece, lining second piece, everything under here. This is my stabilizer, batting, and fabric. Cut right as close as you can without cutting into the lining, and get rid of all of this at the bottom here. It doesn't serve any purpose any longer. All right, throw that away. Now, if there was vinyl in there, I would have saved that because I use the vinyl when I do the little pieces to connect to the wristlet strap or the crossbody bag strap, but there was no vinyl there. This is all fabric. So now let's take the bag and turn it through the gap here. Okay. All right. All right. And oops, what's all those little pieces of get rid of that. Okay, go. All right. Okay, so take, and now you want to go to your sewing machine, and let me give this a little, oh, my iron's already off, darn it. I'm going to give this a little press here when it warms up, and just give it, make it lay nice and flat. So let me see, that should be good enough. Okay. All right. All right, Very good. Okay, I'm going to take this over to my, well, before I do that, let me tell you, turn this first piece, the shorter piece of lining inside, and give it a little press. And then take the second piece of lining and turn it in, and let these little pieces go to towards the outside of the bag. That holds it in, and that looks good right there. Give it a little press, and then take it to your sewing machine and close up this gap here. Start sewing here and sewing right there, and close this gap. And I'll do that, and I'll be right back. All right, as you can see, I have closed the bottom up. Let me take my scissors and get rid of a couple of these little strings here. Is there one over here? No, there's not. Okay, all right. Now let's take and let's see if there's any other. Okay, any other stray pieces of thread? That looks pretty good. So let's now take it and turn it right side out and see what we have. Remove that piece of tape, and let's see, taking with your hands, kind of mold it the way it should be. Pull your zipper shut. Is it okay? And I'm going to take a piece of my pressing cloth, which is this old wash rag, and give it a little press. Okay, I'm not gonna, on the back, I'm not gonna use a pressing cloth because it should be fine. All right, okay, let's put that down. Let's look at it again. See, it kind of slopes in on the sides. And let me see, I'm going to give this another press. I don't like the way that's looking. Okay. Alrighty. And I put this just, the line of stitching just close enough where it's can be seen. And I think that looks nice, so it's not into the bottom seam. And this is my Lazy Days bag. And I want to do something a little simpler than usual, especially for those folks who are just starting with machine embroidery and making purses. So I think it's a nice looking little bag here. And I hope you've enjoyed watching me today. And I want to take just a moment, as I always do, and thank those who have continued to support and encourage me, because I really appreciate that. You don't know how much I appreciate continued support. So I want to thank you again, and if you obtain the pattern, I hope you will make something nice for yourself or a loved one. And anyhow, thank you and enjoy your week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.